Hello everyone, welcome to another Python tutorial. In this tutorial, we are going to talk about random modules. Random modules is used when you want to generate some random number, and depending on the situations, there are different methods under the random modules for you to use. Today we are going to talk about some of the most commonly used random methods. So let's begin. First of all, in order to use the random module, you will need to import it, and you can just follow this simple syntax: import space random. After you execute the code, you are free to use any of the random methods. If you want to just check what are the methods under these random modules, you can just type random and then type a dot, and then press the tab button. Now you'll see a list of methods that's currently inside these random modules you can use. So we will ignore these for now. The first method I want to introduce you is the random.random method. These methods will create a random float number between 0 and 1. So for examples, I'm executing it now, and I'm getting a number between 0 and 1. In this case, it's 0.853 something. And every time I execute it, I will get a different result. You can also leverage the for loop. So for example, I have this for I in range 10. This way you can generate 10 random numbers between 0 and 1 at the same time. And every time I execute this code, I will get a different result because they are generated randomly. This creates some issues because sometimes if you want to do some random experiments, you want to generate some random number, but you want the random numbers to be exact the same every time. If you have that requirement, you can use these .seed methods under the random modules. This .seed method controls the random number generations, so you can just pass a random integer, any integer inside these parentheses will work fine. Let's say I'm using .seed parentheses 9, and if I print 10 random numbers, every time I execute the code, I will get exactly the same result. This is different than the previous cell where each time I'll get a different result. And if you change the seed number, you will also get the different result, but every time, as long as your seed number is the same, the result will be the same. If we change back to 9, we will get the previous result as well. Okay, now let's talk about these random.randint methods. These methods return a random integers between a given range. So for this example, I'm passing two parameters inside this method, which I say 6 and 9. This is the lower bound of your range and upper bound of your range, which means that I'm going to generate a random number every time I execute the code, but the random integers will always be between 6 and 9. So I'm going to generate 10 random integers all at once so that you can clearly see that we have 6, 7, 8, and 9. All the integers are between this range. There's another method called randrange. This is very similar to randinteger, but there are some small differences. The first difference is that instead of generating a random integer from 6 to 9, it only generates a random integer from 6 to 9 minus 1, which is 6 to 8. So that it behaves almost like a range functions in Python. It's always going to start from the first parameters and then ends at second parameters minus 1. Again, I'm using a for loop to generate 10 random integers at the same time, so that you can see we only got 6, 7, 8, but we will never get an integer of 9. That's one difference between the range and the randint. Another difference is that you can actually specify a third parameters, and these parameters controls the steps of your range. So for example, if I say 2, 9, with a step of 3. That means that I'm going to generate a random integer in the range of 2 to 8, but also in an increment of 3. So, which means that we will get 2 and 8. We should also get 5 sometimes, because 5 minus 2 is 3, and then 8 minus 5 is 3. So let's see if we want to change the step size to be 2. Then we will get 2, 4, 6, and 8 because they are all step size of 2. Now let's talk about a choice methods. These choice methods return a random element from a given sequence. So for example, I'm creating a list which I called list underscore 1. This list has 4 elements, 1, 5, 9, 2. I choose them for no particular reason, just some random integers. And if we use list.choice and pass list underscore 1 into the function, we will always get random elements from this list. So this time I'm getting a 9. This time I'm getting a 1. I'm getting a 2, 1. You can also generate 10 random elements at the same time so that you can see that we will randomly get 5, 2, 9, and 1 randomly drawn from this list of 4 elements. Another similar methods but a little bit different is the choices with plural s at the end. So the difference between this choice and choices method is that the choices methods has an extra parameters of k, which allows you to specify the number of random elements from a given sequence. So for example, if I want to draw some random elements from list underscore 1 15 times, I can use these methods. The end result will be a list where each element is a random drawn element from list underscore 1, and it should have 15 elements inside this list because k is equals to 15. If we change the size of k, we also change the size of the output. Another difference between the choices and choice is that you can pass a third parameter which is called weights. This controls the weights of each element to be chosen randomly. So right here I'm giving much more weight to the first element of the list underscore 1, which is element of 1. And then for the other 3 elements, I am only assign them a weight of 1. So which means that if we do our random experiment long enough, we should have 1 that's 10 times more than the other 3 elements. So as you can see, after we execute the code, we indeed got more 1s than the other elements. And this is true every time we execute the code. Now let's talk about a method called shuffle. Shuffle is the method used to shuffle a sequence randomly. So for example, our list underscore 1 has 4 elements which is equal to 1, 5, 9, 2. If we pass this list underscore 1 inside this shuffle methods and then print the list underscore 1 out, you can see that the order of the elements has been shuffled. So that's basically what the shuffle will do. It will shuffle your sequence. Okay, I'm going to talk about another method which is called sample. Sample is a method allows you to draw a sample of size n from a sequence. So for example, I'm creating another list which I call list underscore 2. This time I'm giving it a longer list which has more elements, and I'm going to show you what happens if I pass list underscore 2 inside these sample methods as well as a k parameters. This will allows us to draw a random sample of size n. In this case, n is equals to 3. So every time I execute the code, I will get a different list with different 3 elements randomly chosen from this list underscore 2. If I change this k to 6, I will get a list of 6 elements randomly chosen from this list underscore 2. Okay. So lastly, there are also other methods allows you to generate random samples if you know the probability density functions. The concept of probability density function is out of scope of this tutorial, so I will not go into the details, but for people you understand statistics and probabilities and you know uniform distribution, triangular distributions, beta distributions, exponential distributions, Gaussian distribution, etc. You can also use these random modules to generate random samples from those distributions. Okay, that's it. Thank you for watching. If you feel this video is helping you, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in my next video.